Hello and welcome to a new episode of Heel Talk, Real Talk. I'm your host, Burju Perez, CEO and lead designer of Burju Shoes, and this is...
Hello, my name is Hannah Bessette, and I am the Director of Community Partnership at Burju Shoes.
We're also besties.
Yeah, we are.
But what are we talking about today?
Great question. Today, I'm very excited because we are talking about the Burju Perez story. I love my boss and my friend.
Yay.
And I am always interested in learning about workplace lore. I'm nosy, and I want to know about everybody, and that's what we're doing today.
Hey.
So I'm excited to learn more about you and your journey.
Let's go.
Let's get into it.
Bring it.
So tell us, Burju, where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
Okay. Well, I'm an immigrant. I was born in Istanbul, Turkey.
Did you know that?
Yeah. Immigrants. We get the job done. Okay.
Amen. I like that.
Oh, Hamilton reference. So yeah, my parents brought me here when I was 2 years old, so I didn't really have a say in the situation, but it's really cool. And grew up in New York City. After high school, I decided I want to try a different kind of city, so came out to Boston to go to BU, my alma mater. Yeah, I've been here in Massachusetts ever since. That's where I'm from.
Incredible. So were your parents in the arts at all? Did they do anything artistic?
Oh, I lied. Yes. My father comes from quite a line of artists. My great-great-grandfather, actually, Fuat Mensi is his name, was Fuat Mensi. Google it. Was a very famous artist of his era in Turkey. He's got pieces in museums and rich people's homes. I've got a few of his doodles here, which is fun, but very well known. And then that kind of talent did start passing down. Mm-hmm. My grandfather had a little bit of it. My father was quite a little artist as well, did a little bit of music. Total hippie of the era, long hair, all of it. Yes, all of it. And yeah, so I've just always been interested in the arts of every form, particularly music and dance. Mm-hmm. So between taking some instruments and lots of dance classes and doodling my heart out, I could say it's in the blood a little bit.
It's in the blood. The art's in the blood. I love meeting artist families.
I know, it's fun. It's fun.
I love a little artist
I'm passing
family.
It to the next generation because
yes,
the kiddos are doing it a little bit too. So
they are. The kiddos are great artistes already. Artistes. So when did you start dancing?
Pretty much like a lot of dancer stories from the womb. Mm-hmm. My parents said
Kicking
I came
along.
out, wiggling around. Definitely went through all the classical ballet, jazz, tap, found a love for hip hop. That was really where I was like, mm-hmm. This is it for me. I also did rhythmic gymnastics, so I had some formal kind of gymnastics. That's why we get along. Gymnast over here.
I did do gymnastics.
Yes. So, I was just trying to find my form of mm-hmm. expression. But it's, I've been through all of those things. And then in high school, I found a love for Latin dance thanks to my best friend. Shout out Jennifer Medina. I'm not going to give you her whole name because I don't want you to look up. But anyway, she invited me. I was like 14, sat next to her. That's how we met the very first day. Mm-hmm. She's like, hey, want to be friends? I was like, yes.
Great question.
Please.
And that's how you make a friend?
Yes. And that was it. And still my friend
to this day.
Decades later. Oh. Bestie, but she took me to her house for she's Puerto Rican, mm-hmm. very Puerto Rican, and it was a house party and just lots of dancing and music, and I was like, what is this back and forth spinning around thing you're doing? And so she definitely taught me my first salsa steps. Then I took it further and decided to make a little bit of a career out of it.
A little bit of a career. Pause on that. A little bit of a career. So hold on. Let's backtrack. So you had classical training up until high school?
Yeah, in and out of everything. I mean, I knew ballet wasn't my
really your thing. You don't like
it was. Yeah, I kind of went heavy into hip hop. Mm-hmm. Loved
the energetic stuff.
The energetic, very high energy, and I like the opportunity to be not so rigid. Because mm-hmm. hip hop is very natural and fluid and go with the flow, interpret the music, mm-hmm. it wasn't so rigid. And that's what I also saw with Latin dance. I thought that it was very much, I was attracted to the way you could have a conversation and tell a story through the music, through your movement. It was very call and response and organic and raw, and just had so much flavor, connection. Connection with a partner, connection with the music, connection with your body, the way you move your body. And all of that just resonated with my soul.
As a kid, how did dance affect you? How did it affect your personality? What did it give to you?
I think it definitely gave me confidence because it afforded me an opportunity to express what I was feeling, good, bad, even. Coming from a household, like my parents left Turkey because at the time between just government and religious, it's an Islamic country. They just wanted something different. Right. We weren't very much practicing in our religion, but we did have grandparents that did. And they just, wanted me to kind of be a little bit more free to find my own and not be influenced by all of that. And then it was odd, though, because you still saw it and it was hard to kind of figure it out, like, what's shameful, what's not. We've had discussions about this before, and I'm one who believes now, at least, that everyone should feel comfortable in whatever, whether they want to completely cover or it's totally, as long as you're doing it safe and not harming anyone. But for myself, it was very hard for me to figure out who I was and how I was to express myself and have the confidence to feel like I should be taking up space in this world. And I think dance gave me the opportunity to find that. It was not through a lot of struggle. I mean, there was a lot of shyness. There was a lot of holding back. And then eventually when I did find it, it was like...
And was that turning point kind of getting into hip-hop or getting into Latin dance?
Between hip-hop and Latin dance. Hip-hop was definitely a big way to get into that. I think the community that I was around, the dancers that I was around, the clubs and groups that I, wasn't necessarily through a dance school. You know how dance school hip hop is sometimes a little different.
Yes, I would agree.
You know what I'm saying? It's a little different. You can find. Nothing wrong, just a little different. So like I tended to do like more after school student run, peer run clubs, and it was just really wonderful because it was a supportive group, encouraging group. It was we had room to explore our own movements within things, and I think that really helped. And then in Latin dance, it was the same, which is ironic. I think I got very lucky because in Latin dance, sometimes as the role I tended to play was follower. Again, it can be very gendered. I know that's a topic for another day, but that is the role that I did tend to. And even as a follower in a partner dance, I was very fortunate to be in groups or partnerships, my husband included, where I was given a lot of space to be who I was in that art form. So my experience was very different. And in that, it helped me find a voice just in life. I found more confidence in speaking in public, in starting businesses, in being a parent. And so, I would say dance is, it's just something that's in my life has created so many openings, opened so many doors, created more confidence for me to step through them. Right. And dance is that number one catalyst.
Something so expressive as the arts, I love when it has the effect on people where they just, blossom and open up to share themselves with the world. I think that's really special. And so in line with, it sounds like you learned a lot from your peers growing up also. So what do you think, how do you think they influenced you? You know what I'm saying? What did you get from the people you learned from in these spaces of Latin dance and hip hop? Obviously, these are spaces, like very diverse spaces that you're entering into, obviously completely respectfully, in my opinion. You're entering into, and so you have that influence, especially being in New York. It's such a diverse place.
Exactly.
That, I mean, in general, like, the New York public schools. You went to public school?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I had private school for part and public school for high school, which is where a lot of them have. Yeah.
Public high school, it's super diverse. And so what did you think you gained from being able to be in these kind of community spaces?
I feel very fortunate, again, because I went down this path where it wasn't so much through formal school training per se, but more community-led education. It really allowed me the opportunity to understand more, learn more about the history of things, where things come from, understand its roots, be able to always connect back to that. And I think that's really important because I'm a white woman, right? At least that's how I present. I could be immigrant, I could be Turkish, whatever, but I still present that way. So becoming a professional, especially in Latin dance, it was always very important that everything we taught was rooted in the history, and we always brought it back, and we appreciated its roots. We always gave credit to where it came from. And I think it's because of the community. They taught me to have respect for that. You know what I mean? Yeah, you could look good doing it, but let's keep it real. And this is where it comes from. And this is always give the credit where credit is due. And it was great because I feel like I got these stories. Like, my husband's Puerto Rican, so like I'd get these inside stories, and my best friend was Puerto Rican. Like, so they would literally like, oh, Hector Lavoe, and this is what he's talking, and I learned the language because
you did learn the language.
You know, right?
Because even now, I think you spoke it so much at a certain point where sometimes you even have somewhat of like a Latin accent now.
I get mistaken for
mistaken
for New Yorican sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of can't get that out of me. Just spend a lot of time. But yeah, and I just think that's really important, and just talking. I was always very intrigued by people's lived experiences, and you know, these forms of art came about because of systems of oppression, and for they're in and of itself, they're advocate. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're rooted in. What's the word? Resistance. Yeah. So I became really passionate and interested in learning more. And then I think it also created an opportunity for me to connect in a way that I might not have as a white person, because I would listen to the stories. I would understand that their experiences or my experiences, no two experiences are the same. And so when you show up in the world, you're like, you valid. You're like, everyone's experience is valid. Like, you're just like, you're willing to listen. You're more open. So I'm grateful for that avenue that I got to take by sheer chance. I think.
It really is a testament to the different kinds of knowledge and education that's out there. Even, you know, book smarts is one thing. That is a very narrow way to know something. And I have a lot of respect for people that are willing to learn from people's real life lived experiences. It is the only way to learn the truth and the reality about something is by learning through somebody's lived experience. And so I do appreciate that you went through that route in your dance journey, and it brought you, you know, to a crazy place. We're here now.
A little crazy. Yeah.
We're here now. So after high school, you went to BU and you studied.
Oh, Lord. Didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. I mean, it was like the age old, like, what do we do? Felt like I needed to have like a serious career, like doctor, lawyer type thing.
This is my serious career. That's my side thing.
Right. And then I still come from an era that like the arts wasn't considered necessarily a serious career avenue as far as having a job and, you know, being secure. Back when job security was a secure thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and then I kind of, you know, you have to declare something. So I went with psychology because I was as general. Yeah, I was like,
that's fun though.
Well, it is. I really wanted to kind of understand people, and you know, and I didn't think I wanted to be a psychologist per se.
I could have studied psychology.
I just got it. Yeah, it's a good subject to dive into. I was like, while I figure stuff out my own where I'm at, right? And so it was that. And then actually, let me backtrack for a second. My other passion besides dance was like animals. So I was like, well, I'll go to BU and study marine biology. I was like,
hold on.
Gonna swim with the dolphins.
Pause. The curse of marine biology. As everybody, and I mean every bad bitch's consideration for a career, I wanted to be a marine biologist.
Listen,
every bad bitch I know wants to be a marine biologist.
Like every day. I was like, this is living.
This is living. Oh, we're gonna be on the open sea. I get to touch a stingray or something. Steve Irwin was popping off. I don't know, but I do have a conspiracy theory, that it's one of the first careers that all of us hear the full title of. Like marine biologist. And then we're all like, oh my God, like I can do that.
That sounds so good.
And just so many syllables strung together in middle school that I was like, yeah, that.
Yes.
And so marine biology, you had a love for animals. That was your other passion?
Yeah, it was my other passion.
I was going to ask you about that. You know, outside of dance, what were you doing? You just dancing your heart out all the time?
And art stuff, drawing. I played the flute and the piano for a stint.
The flute?
I was fluent in French for a while until Spanish took over. Now I can't switch it back.
Listen.
It's like, I don't know, just switch it.
One trip to the south of France. One business trip. Good? All right. I'll come with. It'll be easy.
Put that on the calendar.
And Turkish.
All team meeting.
So now we're trilingual, but it used to be quadrilingual.
Little. Was for a moment. Yeah.
What? Polyglot. Wow. Okay, why?
Yeah. I
I just think it's so impressive because I studied a dead language. So you were learning languages, you were dancing, you were fluting. You were playing the piano.
It's pretty good. I was composing a little bit.
Were you in the band, or you were in jazz band?
No, I didn't do the band thing. I did do a couple of the concerts for school. I didn't do the band thing. I kind of wanted to do my own. Listen, I was like, listen, if I really continued, I would have been like Lizzo up in there.
Oh my god!
Like doing a thing.
No, call Lizzo.
Like, Lizzo.
Call Lizzo. Y'all tag her in the comments. I want a collab between B and Lizzo.
I can't even play it now. That if I try, I'm like,
I feel like it's like riding a bike.
Although no, it is kind of because my daughter started ukulele and I can pick that up real quick now because the notes they're still there. There's still something there. It just didn't go away completely.
There's a lot of artistic talent in this family. It's incredible.
It's fun.
So you're playing the flute, you're playing the piano, you're dancing. You are hanging out with animals. Did you have pets growing up?
I did. I had a dog. 16 years lasted.
Wow.
Yeah. White Samoyed. Loved her. Spoke to her like
no
my
idea
best friend.
What that dog
no
is.
Siblings.
That's what I was about to say. This is a testament to how much an only child can do in a given time. Get a pet. You know, a lot of lessons.
Yeah.
A lot of extracurricular activities.
Yeah, because I grew up in apartments, you know, and so like I couldn't even go across the street to the park on my own. And my parents were entrepreneurs, obviously, so they didn't speak English coming here. They hadn't, you know. And
what did your parents end up doing as a career?
Back when this was a thing, they were travel agents.
Oh,
so that was pre-Orbitz, okay? So, or what are the kayak
travel agents now?
You know, they specialized too in trips to Turkey since they were fluent in Turkish, which was great.
Naturally,
it actually was great for a while. So I watched them. I think that's where I also get my entrepreneurial spirit. So I've watched them overcome quite a lot to make, you know, a decent life for us. We weren't balling, but we were right.
So we get to high school. We're leaving high school. We're in BU. Are you still dancing in college?
I am. Again, clubs, community clubs and stuff like that. Got into this kind of Latin dance club. Started... kind of became like one of the organizers of it because I have a little bit of background
on the executive board team.
And it was funny because it was a lot of women energy, which is great, and we needed dance partners. And there was like in our circle of guy friends, there wasn't anyone that wanted to join in on our little adventures, so we had to recruit outside. And one of the women, she knew a group that would always go to there was 3 clubs that people that love Latin dancing would hit. It was the Copa, Vincent's, and what's the other one? I forget. Copa, Vincent's, and another one. But it was like the circuit. Like every Wednesday they were here, every Friday they were there, every Saturday, whatever. And my future husband was one of those guys that...
We met Victor in college.
We didn't go to the same college, but we had to recruit from external. He went to UMass. We had to go to our
UMass Boston, UMass Amherst,
UMass Amherst.
He was at the zoo. Look it up. So what was he doing at the zoo? He was coming to Boston every weekend.
He loved to hit the. I'm telling you, dancing.
He was a traveler
every weekend.
Wow. Okay.
He also graduated like a year earlier than 2 years.
Yeah. Let's introduce this new character to the plot because I'm already diving deep on the Burju canon. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the lore right now. So Victor, lovely Mr. Victor Perez, is the husband to the lovely Burju. Yes. I mean, I met you two when you were pregnant with your first child.
Almost 10 years ago.
Almost a decade. And I actually, the day that I met...
life ago.
Why would you say that?
We could cut that out.
Actually, no. Like half my life. But when I met Burju and Victor for the first time, we were all at like a friend's, some gathering. I was just a young child. And they came in. And I saw Burju pregnant, and I love babies. So I immediately was like, I want to touch that belly.
They're melon.
So I want to touch that belly. But I had respect and decorum even as a child. So as an adult, you should have that too. Okay. And so I minded my business. And they came in with all this energy. They like kind of just waved hi to everyone, but there was music playing. And before you even like sat down, said hi to anybody, fully pregnant, Victor starts twirling you around and y'all are going through the yard. I was like, wait a second. I was so confused. I had never met y'all in my life. They came in life of the party. Incredible dancers. And also a style of dance that I was so unfamiliar with. Not Latin dance, in general. because I grew up with a lot of, Latinx people in my personal friend groups. Same, you go to a family function, you're dancing all night. But y'all's style of dance was so different. Even even salsa, because it was salsa. But
cue a quick video clip.
Cue a video. Cut the.
Yeah.
Cue the video, because that y'all's style is incredible. So
Thanks.
Okay, we're backing up. We've met Victor. Introducing Victor. You met him because he just so happened to be one of the guys that wanted to dance.
That recruited me. He became my dance partner.
Was it love at first sight?
Back up.
Okay.
So here's what happened, right? There's a story. I actually met him a year before that.
Ooh.
There's some drama. So I was at a party. It was like a salsa party at Harvard.
Okay.
And he was there too. And I danced with him at this party. This is a year prior. And, I was like, oh, he's cute. And he couldn't dance,
Cutest part?
Check the boxes on my list.
If you can dance, right? It's a yes for me.
It's a yes and a yes, right? And he was funny. Like, Victor, he's a little jokester.
Great guy.
So I gave him my number. Mm-hmm. He says he worked for it. I was like, I gave it to you.
But we're going to have to check the records on that.
And he calls me like a few days later, and I actually...
Good follow-up.
Like, wasn't too soon. I was like, okay. But his vibe on the phone, I wasn't feeling it. He was very much like...
What was it giving?
He'll tell a different story, by the way. But it was very much so like, I don't know. It was just like, I was like, something smells...
Like too much testosterone on it?
Just something
too much testosterone.
I was like...
to the phone.
I was like, and I'd just been done dealing with that game stuff. And I was like,
okay.
yeah. So he says I was quite stuck up. That's his version. Like,
you
were
both
stuck
arguing
up.
that.
I was like, yeah, no. And actually it was a good call, because he was actually in a relationship when he called me. So I was like, what business did you have getting my number?
Yeah, matter of fact.
Anyway, so a year later, he walks into this auditorium where we're practicing, and I didn't recognize him at first. I don't know if he did either, and I was just like, but I did feel like a familiarity, and I was like, okay, something about this.
I know you're from somewhere.
I know something, right? Not till we're like way into this rehearsal, and we're like, I think once we started dancing, like something clicked, and I was like, wait. And then we laughed for a long time. So we became really good friends with just a lot of like laughing, dancing together. Our relationship was always very much like, we just made each other laugh a lot. We were very silly together, had a lot of energy, loved to dance. Obviously, there's a connection there. And so there was a lot of that, a little bit of flirting. You know how it goes.
You know how it goes, girls. Come on.
Yeah. And the rest is history. And 24 years.
Wow. So you started dating how long after you met?
That is an interesting story too. So the tea.
And this is why I love getting the tea. Like, I just want to know everything.
The tea. All right. So, obviously we advanced from the friend zone into something a little bit more, and I'm like, so what is this? And he was all about, let's not put a label on it.
Right. You know how it goes.
Even 20 years ago, this is the conversation.
It'll never end, I feel. We're in a cyclical environment with these men, okay?
Right. So,
babe, it doesn't have to be serious, babe. Babe, let's just have fun. We don't have to put a label. You know I care about you.
Don't mess with a good thing.
You know it's me and you,
There's
shorty.
No one else. And there wasn't anyone else, which is great. And so to this day, we don't know our official dating start date. So we picked a date.
You just gotta ease into it.
We picked a date.
Yeah, that's great. What did you pick?
March 24th. Don't ask me why. 324 just sounded really good.
I used to know someone that had like a birthday that day.
I don't know. It was a vibe. The date was a vibe.
March 24th. It sounds like a good day. It's a nice round day. March gives me 24 as a number in general.
Right. It's like the best.
I think that's a good solid
You know what I mean? It's like it's the beginning, kind of sort of entering towards spring and winter or something new.
Things are blossoming. Right.
Love is blossoming. So yeah, March 20th, we picked a date, and pretty much like a year later, he proposed to me.
Full stop. Wait a minute. Okay, hold on. Are we still in college?
No, this was right after college.
Okay, so we graduated college. So we're like 24, 23.
I was like 21.
You you graduate college 21?
Didn't I? Wait.
Hold on.
18, 19, 20,
I was a sophomore
21,
at 20.
yeah.
Oh, you were a youngin' going in.
I went right away.
So you proposed. So he proposed a year after you met.
Yeah,
and you
in
said
New
yes.
York, he brought my closest friends and my dad together at a dinner. He took me to New York for a weekend. It was like overlooking Times Square, I was so much a New Yorker. I was like,
You were a New York
after college,
girly.
I was like, we going back to New York.
Yeah.
Because, this is not.
So everybody says.
Right, everybody says that never happens. But yeah, so he's like, oh, we're gonna go out to dinner, and he takes me to this nice restaurant. It's like everything's like interesting. You could tell something's going on, but I had no idea.
Yeah.
And then it was my friends and my close friends. My dad was there.
Aww.
He'd very traditional, asked my dad permission. It was very cute. Aww. And so yeah, and then we were engaged for 10 years. Because then our dance career took off.
Oh, I forgot about this part. See, this is like lore that I knew but forgot about. Engaged for 10 years because... So when did you all and how did you all start dancing professionally?
At our group in college. At the end, we were doing like small gigs. We got a couple of like contracts, if you will, at clubs, some nightclubs where we would teach. And then, before the nightclub started, we'd get hired for like weddings, some corporate gigs, little things like that. And back then...
How did you get that kind of notoriety even to get those initial contracts?
Just
word of mouth?
Networking,
Just knowing
word
people?
of mouth. Yeah,
That's how it happens.
Yeah, you just got to put yourself out there, right? And then so then... There was something called salsa festivals or congresses. They're basically dance festivals where there's workshops throughout the day, performances at night, social dancing until the wee hours of the morning, rinse and repeat all weekend long. And there was one out in LA that was a big deal, and one out in New York, and one in Puerto Rico. There was only 3. This is in the beginning, like 99, 2000. We submitted an audition tape to the one in LA, got accepted to go out there. Nice. Obviously we paid, nobody paid us anything, but we went, we paid, we saved our money to get out there. And we went and we performed, and we seemed to hit there was the afternoon shows and the evening shows. Afternoons were like for the new amateurs, and we were there. But they liked our shows, so they let us perform at the night. Yeah. And then that kind of, we, like you said, we had kind of like a little different style, little funky, jazzy. Mix of things, because Victor did a lot of house and breakdancing, and me with my hip hop. So
I would pay so much money to see Victor Perez breakdance.
You know what I'm saying? I don't think he can do that anymore. Knees don't.
It's in him though.
Okay, it's in him. The knees aren't there though. But yeah, so I think because of that flavor that we brought to Latin dance, it was something a little bit different. Had some fusion to it, and so. Through that event, we got booked for like another festival, or invited, and we were still kind of paying our own way. But after a while, we still training. We would drive every single weekend to New York to train, because that's where all the dancers were getting great.
From Boston. Come
back to our 9-to-5 job. Go back on Friday.
Where were you working at the time? Like, what was your 9 to 5? Putnam Investments. Shout out.
The marine biology thing ended up not working out.
The psychology thing
went into business.
That's okay.
And finance. Typical.
It helped. I would argue it helped though, because now we're here. And what did Victor do? Same thing?
The same
for
thing.
his 9 to 5?
Yeah, he's
sweet. That's okay.
Economics major, something like that.
Yeah, but the hustle was there.
Yeah. So, and then we did a few choreos that I would like to say are the ones that launched our career, and then we started getting booked for these festivals as a paid artists, as like feature artists, being brought out there, expenses paid to teach, to perform.
The original influencers.
Yeah, that's what I hate to report. And this is like in 2002, 2003 was one of our first gigs. Got our first tour in Turkey, actually, which is ironic.
Really?
Got to be out there for a few weeks, then Greece, then Spain, like where we would spend like a month touring.
And when you say touring, you're like touring, or just performing?
Teaching and performing.
Wow.
Yes, and then we had to quit our jobs.
I mean, yeah, tour life,
Tour life.
Tour life.
And yeah, we did that for like over a decade.
Wow. And so you got to travel. You got to dance.
All over.
Be engaged. And you got, obviously, your dance partner is your husband. No one had time to get married. So, you have, at this point, formed a career where you can travel. You get to dance. Your dancing partner is your fiance. And I just know.
Blessings on blessings.
Yes. And I just know that, how was it working with your husband, especially in a space like Latin dance?
The first time around, hell.
Yeah.
We couldn't figure out how to communicate with each other. So what ended up happening is we sat. This was like year 3. You know, that point where you're like, this is either a serious relationship or I need to get out now.
Yeah.
And we were at a crossroads. We said, it doesn't look like we can do both. So do we choose dance? And we could dance together as partners and just keep it like that and not be in a relationship? Or do we pick the relationship and not dance together? We chose a relationship. So we stopped dancing.
After 3 years. So the tour was 10 years?
So no, it was like we had just started gig. It wasn't like we were that heavy in demand yet. It was very beginning. Like, yeah, we had some stuff, but not really. And we just said we can't because we were fighting too much. We were bringing home arguments from the studio, and then, you know, I was sleeping in the same bed with someone, not looking at them.
Right.
You know?
So this is like, so you didn't tour fully together for the full 10 years?
No.
And you like, did you tour with other people? Like, were you still on the same tour? Just dancing?
We just stopped dancing. We just decided that it was just not meant for us to do. It was going to cause too much friction within our relationship. So, and it was kind of painful to even bring it up or do it in any way. So it was just like we went back to work. We were just working, doing our thing, and just put that part of us behind, right? And it was because a friend of ours, his name is Lino Delgado, and he's running one of the biggest like breakdancing crews here in Boston. Nice. And he was putting together a production called The History of Hip Hop, and he wanted to show how like the richness of how all the art forms have kind of crossed paths. And there was a moment where he spoke about Latin dance and its influence. And he asked us to do a piece in it. And we looked at each other and we're like, okay, for old time's sake, why not?
Right.
And, you know, we had kind of gotten over the drama.
Yeah.
One more little hurrah. And it ended up really igniting kind of a love with dance and our partnership again. And I think because we had matured a little bit with the time off, we had discussed it a little bit, and we were able to kind of be better in how we communicated. So we tried again. We set some boundaries. We also, expectations, very important, and just be like, okay, well, this is round 2 now. We know better. Right. You know, we know how our personalities are and how we work. So we just have to accept and work together and find ways to communicate. And it worked, and we were able to go at it full on. I mean, it always has its bumps, you know, hills and valleys and whatnot. However, I would like to say that it was really one of the best things in the world to be able to travel and dance with my favorite human on the planet, right? My best friend, my soulmate, and all the experiences we had, all the laughs, the cries, the blood, the tears, everything. Right. It was like the most amazing. I really do feel blessed for having experienced that.
Yay. And even in Latin dance space, to have a partner that you know, especially in the social Latin dance space.
Oh, yeah. It kept me safe, too, I have to say, in an environment that can be quite interesting for some people. And there's lots of discussions on the, you know, etiquette of...
We'll talk about that.
That's another conversation.
We'll talk about that.
And so I just, again, another blessing or another, you know... I was very fortunate to have Victor and me, because it was always, we were greeted with a level of respect by people that wow. And then the other thing is something we set up as trust for each other. Yeah. Like we would be at these events, social dance events, and he would be off for hours dancing over here, and I'm off, like wouldn't even see each other, never got to dance with each other except for on stage or in the class, right? But never was there any jealousy or issue with that. We knew it was professional. I trusted him fully, he trusted me fully. We would just share some fun stories.
Listen,
we
y'all,
went back to the hotel room.
Marriage can work. Hear me when I say.
I can. If you figure it out. And sometimes it takes a couple of rounds.
It's just a team. It's a team effort. It's a team effort. But it's truly an inspiration in this day and age for y'all to go and strong.
We made
y'all.
it.
Stop it. Stop it. Okay, so we've elapsed our 10-year engagement.
Yeah.
We're done touring.
Yeah.
We finished touring. We're getting married?
Yet. No, so we're still at some point we felt some pressure to finally get married. But from family and friends are like, okay, why? And we were just like, we just don't have time.
We're
and
busy,
like,
man.
We're already living that role. Like we were living together. We had bought a home together. Like we had done all the
married things. All the married things.
All the married things. Well,
they're
not
looking
kids
for
yet.
a piece of paper.
Yeah,
they were looking for that.
Which is kind of we're like, well, maybe we should get the tax break if we're doing all the things.
You know what?
And we just decided it was very, very small, intimate. I think there was like 12 people total. We actually got married at Justice of Peace, right? We just did it
I love a courthouse wedding.
So yeah, just really easy. But we did like this kind of more like ceremonial thing in Los Cabos in Mexico. It was cute, just 12 of us, and we crashed our own party. So we were like doing the whole reception thing, and then we were all like dressed up and looking pretty, and we're looking at the pool all lit up and beautiful at night, and we're like, y'all want to just ditch this party and jump in the pool? So it was just great. My friends still say that it was one of the best weddings they'd been to.
I mean, like, if I was there, it would have been the best wedding I've ever been to.
It was great.
That's great.
Didn't go into debt over it. That's another life lesson.
Yeah, note that. A nice, small, cute wedding. Small, you get to travel.
Yeah.
You have to be in the tropics, in a tropical location with your loved ones.
Yeah.
Amazing. And so, when did you stop dancing?
Okay, so at this point, 15 years in, I think. And then, I was about 35. Victor's 3 years older than me. We just kind of were evaluating what the future looked like and if we were going to continue on the same path, if a family was in our future or not. What does that look like? Because we've seen many of our colleagues have family and still do what they're doing. Some stop. So we've seen both of it and just kind of what did it look like for us. Again, communication is key, right? What do we each want? And then, I kind of voiced my expression that I didn't think I could live the life on the road, having kids at home. I just didn't feel like it was for me.
Yeah.
No judgment on anyone that does it. And I'm
you.
definitely, it's everyone's choice, right? I just was like, I think I'd have to turn in my dancing shoes at that point. So we left it kind of up to chance. And in 2013, I was like, you got that something don't feel right. And then the pregnancy test says you are with child. And I was like, oh. And then, the universe wanted to also take me out fully. Like, was like, honey, it's time to rest. So even if I wanted to dance with my belly, which I would have, I was too sick. You couldn't spin me. I couldn't even stand up straight for many hours. So that was kind of, I knew when we had my daughter, we kind of went back to it for a little bit, thinking we could kind of do it, but do it maybe a third or a quarter of what we did capacity, maybe just travel once a month type of thing. It just didn't feel right anymore. It felt like I was ready to move into a new space and new roles.
New business ventures.
New things.
So how we get here?
How we get
here to the company?
How we sitting here right now?
How we sitting here?
So the shoe thing was always something in the background. Another little, like, I guess, guilty pleasures. I've always loved high heels, particularly. I'm not saying I'm like a big fashionista person, but I could just wear jeans and a t-shirt, but some crazy heels. I'm crazy. So when I'm at these social events, I was one of those people that wanted to have the most exciting shoes in the room, but still dance 15 hours like straight. Jesus. And so I was, in my 20s, I was a lot more in denial about the pain and suffering I was causing myself and the long-term damage.
It's easy to do that in your 20s.
So I was wearing shoes from Aldo. I would wear my dance shoes to perform, clearly, but I was like, at the party? We are coming with the fit. Like, I want everyone looking at my
dress down.
Right. So then I was like, yeah, but I can't do this anymore. So I started bedazzling my own shoes because I'm crafty.
Yes,
like
you
that.
are.
Yes.
Artistic.
So, I took my dance shoes. I tried to make them look more like my shoes from the mall. And then started reselling for a couple of brands because then my dance team were like, can you bedazzle our shoes like that? So it became, it was like literally a DIY craft project turned into a business. Yeah.
Quite the business.
Accidental.
And you have
formal training.
No formal training. No partners. No business partners.
No investors.
No investors.
Do it ourselves.
Burju Shoes is owned, run, operated by Burju. by Burju and
Victor still has a little, he was the,
Pardon me, the Prezes
I was like, you want to be involved? You're my partner and everything. He was like, shoot.
The Prezes fully own and operate Burju Shoes, the company you know and love. And we are, I would argue, the number one dance heels retailer.
I didn't say it, but.
I don't know, I said it. I said it. Because even now, I meet dancers. I have friends that are dancers. And when I first got this position, they were like, oh, Hannah, what are you doing for work? What do you do? And I was like, yeah, I work at Burju Shoes. The face of people who are like, where? You work there? How'd you get that job? And I was like, oh, I'm at Burju. And I was like, younger. Just asked her one time if she needed any help. And now I'm the director of community partnership.
She's a bright, wonderfully talented woman. I was like, hell yeah.
You definitely taught me I guess through example, also how to just grow into a role.
Yes.
How to just, plant a seed, start little, and cultivate it into something much bigger. I was just a social media manager. That was me. It was just like, it was just me and Insta.
You know how to snap some photos?
You know how to DM? That was it.
That's all I care about right now.
That's all I did.
And now you do what?
Now I do community partnership. I handle our core values, our philanthropy, our sustainability initiatives, our collaborators. It's a small team. People, when I talk to them, even out in the world, everyone assumes that Burju Shoes is a very large brand / corporation.
That's wild.
See, I know. I told her this today, and she was like, huh? People think that?
I'm like, what?
Yes. Because everybody in the dance world knows of at least Burju Shoes.
It wasn't that long ago we were shipping shoes out of my garage.
It wasn't. Y'all don't know that. We were touching your... I promise you, if you have bought a pair of shoes in the past decade, we probably have touched them physically. Let's go. Loaded them up, you know what I'm saying? Sealed it. With a kiss. But it's true. We have a very small team, a very effective and small team. But I also feel like... So, fun fact about Burju. Burjuski is a Gemini. Let's start there. Okay? All of you who slander Geminis are going to have to take it up with me personally. Because the air signs over here are riding. And in my personal opinion, some Geminis are some of the kindest, most culturally aware and care about the people around them and considerate people in the world. And I would count you as one of those people.
Oh, thank you.
I think your passions outside of work have become very involved in, community activism, environmentalism, which you've brought into the business. So, when you were building Burju Shoes originally, did you envision a sustainable brand? Were you having the considerations that you do now about how we would affect the environment and use our platform? Or was that...
I'm honestly going to say I never had a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Yes.
I didn't even think this was going to be real business, to be honest with you. It was just kind of a side thing along with dancing. Mm-hmm. And then when I had my daughter and I was like, well, I don't know that I want to continue touring the world. Mm-hmm. I'm ready to kind of step into different roles. Yeah, we were selling some shoes. We didn't know if it would really be something sustainable. But we took a leap of faith because we thought there was something there. And then it was just kind of like figuring things out as we went along. But yes, all along I was always, my practices or methods were always, albeit very amateur, but we were always trying to be very careful of how we disposed of our garbage. We recycle, everything was there. I don't think we understood all the technology or all the resources out there to actually make us a resourceful business. But one thing I did know is the factories that I chose to work with, they absolutely had to be fair. They had to pay very fair, above fair. Because I refused to participate in unethical labor practices.
Right.
And, conditions have to be good. And our factories are really known for that.
Yeah,
in fact, there's people lining up that want to work with them and they're like, no.
Not enough space. We have factories in both Turkey and China, and I think it's very commonplace, especially with so many fast fashion brands now. When you see that made in China, you are concerned, maybe if you're a conscientious individual, that someone too young or not paid well enough made this garment, and that was always going to be avoided at Burju Shoes.
Yes. And I knew from the get we weren't trying to be fast fashion.
It was never trying to be
I'd rather sell my product for more so it can pay everyone fairly, be done ethically, sustainably, and, sell less, but do it, in a way that we could all sleep at night and know that we're not harming people or the planet.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done it otherwise. And I'm not saying we were perfect, and we're still not, but we've made such amazing strides since its inception, and thankfully because I have people like Hannah, Doreen, Sammy, all these amazing people, that they bring together. I'm like, how do we make this happen?
Yeah.
How do we and we're just learning and growing, and we continue on that path of just being creative in our business practices. We never put ourselves in a box and do things the way other corporations or companies or brands might do it, because it has to always stay true to our core values.
Right.
And so there was no roadmap. There was just it was literally just
trying it out.
It has to feel good.
Which is great, because as a fellow air sign, I also don't like planning. Yeah. I like to go with the flow. I want to find it on the way.
Yeah.
You know? And so, but I really do think that one of the reasons that the business has become so successful is because it really is a reflection of you and the way that you care about people. You know, even if you have grown into this social consciousness over time and you've learned more the older you've gotten about what's going on in the world, baseline, you care about people around you, and in my experience, always have. And so I think now that you run a business that is run so ethically with the workforce, I mean, we are cared for. You really feel cared for if you work here, working in our factories. We have people working overseas as well in multiple locations remotely. But at every juncture, you are always concerned that everyone that is contributing to this goal of keeping Burju Shoes, running day to day is taken care of. And I really do think that that's what is making businesses more successful. And when I say successful, I don't mean we're making $1 billion every year. I'm not even talking monetary. I'm talking about what success means to us in being able to run a, fashionable, designer, comfortable dance heels brand while giving back, while treating people fairly, while educating ourselves and others in the process. And I think that's success.
Yeah. Well, everyone keeps saying, Doreen said it, we're in 2023. Last year, 2022, I think there was like record layoffs, right? Everyone was losing their job or even you hear people taking on more roles and responsibilities, but not necessarily making paid more. Mm-hmm. Well, our biggest flex is that during that year, we were able to give every single person a 20% raise plus a 15% bonus. So...
What? And thank you. Yeah. And thank you today.
Listen,
tomorrow.
If y'all ain't getting paid, I ain't getting paid. So I don't get the bonuses. I'm the last one to get paid. And I just feel like, even during the pandemic where we were I was afraid we were going to lose the business. Yeah. It was a good 6-8 months that I was like, the sales are just not coming in. This is not a brag, but just to be in transparency. Like I stopped taking a salary of any form in order to keep everyone and not fire anyone. And I lived off some savings. Like I've been blessed in other ways and made some smart decisions, thankfully. But I did what I had to because I was like, okay, we're going to get through this, but I'm going to hang on as long as I can. And I didn't want y'all to suffer. Right. And so that was really important to me. And, it all worked out. Like now we fast forward, we're more successful than before the pandemic, which is great. I think it also, I never wish a pandemic on any one of us again. No. But I feel like it created an opportunity for us to reevaluate certain things as well, really understand who we are as a business, become even more, even though we knew who we were, I think it gave us the courage, especially me, to be more transparent to the public about who we are and really tell people what we stand for, I want everyone, I want y'all to know what we're doing, what we're investing in, how we treat our people, So because it matters, because I care who I'm giving my money to. Like I refuse to participate in fast fashion. I know it's cheaper and it looks cute and stuff like that, but it's not worth it. I have kids.
And if you have the means,
I'm borrowing this planet from my kids. It's their future, and it's not worth it to me. I'd rather pay more to a company because I know they're doing it ethically, and that's why it's not just the cost of the actual good you're making. There's more that goes into the cost of a product, which is very important. And I don't think a lot of people understand. Maybe that's another topic of discussion
we'll talk about
into. Yeah,
we'll definitely talk about it. But we're here now.
Yeah,
and you definitely aren't someone that's ever. I mean, people think Burju Shoes. They think it's a huge team. Every time I talk about it, it's like 8 of us. None of us are, we're not going home to like mansions and pools every day. Burju over here is like, I'll take a tiny home. I don't need the space. Get rid of it all. We really, all of us kind of want to live as responsibly as possible for ourselves, for our families, for the planet. And that translates in our business, which I'm so grateful to have. But it is all due to the story of this lovely lady right here.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying? And I cannot wait to clip the Perez's dance videos.
Cute clip.
We are cue the clip. And you can see what an interesting and different style that they took on, and to blend different forms of dance into Latin dance, which made y'all so damn popular for so damn long. Pushing this wedding back because they just too fly. Nothing you can do about that. But, I'm so glad I got to learn more about you. Yeah, for the greater good. For the greater good. But I'm very glad I got to learn more about you today. I love learning more.
Thanks for caring.
Thanks for sharing.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thanks for joining.
I hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you liked it, please like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and catch us on our next episode of Heel Talk, Real Talk with your besties, Hannah and Burju.
Bye.
Place.
It's the air sign. I'm telling you. You get caught in the wind.